So, ever get that feeling, like your day just kind of vanished?
Oh,
Like
definitely.
1 minute you're making coffee, right? Then boom, it's dark out, and you're thinking, did I actually do anything? Besides, like, emails and losing my keys.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe you've even tried some epic multitasking fails. I once tried listening to a productivity audiobook while assembling, flat pack furniture.
Oh, no. How did that go?
Well, let's just say the bookcase ended up looking, more like abstract art, and my time management skills. Still pretty abstract, too.
Yeah, that feeling like time just slips through your fingers.
Oh.
It's so common. We all get the same 24 hours, but some people really seem to pack so much more in. Makes you wonder, doesn't it?
It totally does, which is why today we're doing a deep dive into this really fascinating little book from way back, over a century ago, actually. Arnold Bennett's How to Live on 24 Hours a Day.
Ah, Bennett, a classic.
Exactly. Now, for those of you listening, folks like us, always trying to, level up your knowledge, make the most of the day without, like, burning out completely. This book, it's just packed with insights that are still, well, surprisingly relevant, like finding this amazing old recipe that still works in our, instant noodle world.
Right, and Bennett's point isn't really about finding extra hours. It's more fundamental. It's about changing how we perceive and actually use the time we have.
Okay.
More about like conscious engagement instead of just letting life happen to us.
So our mission for this deep dive is pretty straightforward. We want to pull out the key, actionable stuff from Bennett's book, ideas that can help you, our listener, live a richer, more intentional life, with the same 24 hours we all get.
Yeah, a shortcut to feeling like you're actually living, not just spinning on that hamster wheel.
Exactly. And just to get us started, think about this quote from Bennett. 5 minutes of sustained, concentrated thought is worth all the rest of the day's vagueness.
Ooh, that's good. Makes you pause, right?
It really does. Okay,
Yeah.
so let's unpack that. Why do we get that vagueness? Where does it come from?
Well, Bennett kicks things off with this core idea,
Mm-hmm.
feeling like you're always short on time. Often, it's kind of a mental trick,
Yeah,
especially with the hours outside of work.
a mental trick. My calendar feels pretty real. But, okay, tell me more.
It's interesting, right? We tend to be pretty conscious of our work hours. They're scheduled, accounted for.
Yeah.
But those hours after work, evenings, weekends,
Yeah.
they can just sort of dissolve, become this nebulous zone where time vanishes and we don't really know where it went.
Uh-huh.
And that lack of structure, it can create a feeling of emptiness, even if the hours weren't empty, just undirected.
You're really hitting on something there. My evenings can definitely become that scroll vortex. You think, oh, just 5 minutes. And then,
This hour later.
yeah, an hour later. And you're like, what did I even just watch? Time just, PFT leaks away.
Exactly. And Bennett saw this happening long before, smartphones and endless scrolling existed.
Yeah.
We put so much mental energy into work, our jobs, that leisure time feels like an afterthought, something passive, not something to actively cultivate. Like we just clock out of being intentional when we leave the office.
Right. Those non-work hours, they just become this buffer zone.
Yeah.
Okay, so if this time scarcity thing is partly like an illusion we create, what did Bennett say we should do about it? How do we stop the leaks?
His solution is actually pretty direct, he says. Consciously decide to own your leisure time.
Own it. Okay.
Approach your evenings, your weekends, with maybe the same kind of intention you bring to your workday. I mean, you probably wouldn't just show up to work with zero plan, right?
Well, on a good day, no. Usually there's some kind of agenda, even if it's just survive till lunch.
Exactly. So Bennett suggests bringing that proactive mindset to your free time, too. See those hours not just as, crash time, but as real opportunities for personal growth, for doing things you're passionate about, for engaging with life in ways work maybe doesn't allow.
So instead of just defaulting to the couch and the remote, which, okay, sometimes is needed.
Absolutely.
Bennett's nudging us to be more deliberate. What sort of things did he have in mind for these reclaimed hours?
He was really big on activities that engage the mind, foster creativity, things like dedicating time to learning something new, maybe pursuing hobbies that genuinely excite you,
Okay.
getting into reading, or even just making space for quiet reflection. He argued that these consciously chosen hours, that's where real personal growth happens.
That really resonates. It's about intentionally making space for things that actually feed your mind, your soul, maybe, instead of just letting the easiest option win.
Right.
Like even deciding to read one chapter of a book each night, something I always mean to do.
We all do.
but often just let slide.
Yeah.
That could actually make a big difference over time, couldn't it? It changes those hours from feeling like passive filler to something, constructive.
Precisely. And that leads right into another really key part of Bennett's philosophy, the critical importance of actively cultivating your mind.
Okay, now you're speaking my language. My brain definitely feels like it needs a workout sometimes. Something more than remembering the grocery list.
Well, Bennett firmly believed that, intellectual engagement isn't just for academics. It's vital for everyone, for a well-lived life. And he directly tackles that common feeling, right? Being too tired after work for anything mentally challenging.
Oh, I know that feeling intimately. End of the workday, my brain often feels like, I don't know, mushy pasta.
Yeah.
The biggest decision I can handle is like pizza or tacos.
Bennett totally got that. But he kind of challenged it. He suggested that feeling tired is often more about mental inertia, just being reluctant to switch gears rather than actual brain drain.
Interesting. So what did he suggest instead of tacos? Although tacos are good.
Tacos are always good. But he was a big advocate for what he called serious reading.
Serious reading. Okay, that sounds a little intense. Like I need to pick up, I don't know, dense philosophy after a long day.
Not necessarily diving into Kant right after clocking out.
Right.
But Bennett meant choosing stuff that requires, focused attention, things that make you think critically, stretch your mind beyond just the superficial.
Okay, I get that.
For someone like you who values digging deep and getting those aha moments, deliberately engaging with thoughtful reading or maybe even challenging podcasts can be incredibly rewarding. It's about actively seeking out ideas, perspectives that broaden your horizons. Think of it like mental weightlifting. But instead of biceps, you get brain power.
Ooh, I like that. Mental weightlifting. Yeah, it reframes it, doesn't it? From a chore to like an opportunity for those mental fireworks we like.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've got reclaiming time, engaging the mind. What's the final piece of Bennett's 24-hour puzzle?
The last really crucial insight is about practicing living each moment with conscious awareness. Bennett believed that even the really ordinary bits of our day hold potential for interest, for richness, if we just approach them with attention.
Intention.
Conscious living.
Yeah.
Yeah, we hear that phrase a lot now.
Well,
How did Bennett frame it writing way back then?
what's really striking is he basically said nothing in life is humdrum unless, we decide it is. He encourages us to actively engage with whatever's happening right now, find something interesting, something to appreciate, even in routine stuff.
Okay, that's a challenge, especially when you're like stuck in traffic or facing Mount Laundry. Finding the excitement in that feels like looking for a lost sock in a black hole sometimes.
Maybe not, edge of your seat excitement. But Bennett suggests just shifting perspective a bit. Could that commute be time for an engaging podcast?
Perhaps.
Could folding laundry be a moment for some quiet reflection? It's about bringing your focus, your curiosity to now, rather than just rushing through to get to the next thing. So it's appreciating the small stuff, the things that usually just fly by, like actually noticing the steam from your coffee or, I don't know, the light hitting the dust motes.
Exactly. And that brings us right back around to that quote we started with about concentrated thought versus vagueness.
Right.
Bennett saw each day, all 24 hours, as a daily miracle, a precious, finite resource, something to be appreciated and used fully, from the big projects down to the quiet, everyday moments.
Wow, a daily miracle. That really is a powerful way to think about it. Okay, so quick recap of this deep dive into Arnold Bennett. First, that feeling of not enough time, often an illusion, especially about our non-work hours. Second, we need to actively reclaim and plan our leisure time for growth. Be intentional.
Yep.
Third, mental cultivation, like through serious reading, is vital. Work out that brain.
You got it.
And finally, cultivate conscious awareness. Find value even in the mundane, because maybe nothing is truly mundane.
That's the core of it. And these ideas, even though they're over 100 years old, they feel incredibly fresh, right? A really practical roadmap for how anyone listening can get more control over their day, feel more fulfilled, all within those same 24 hours.
Absolutely. So here's a little food for thought for everyone listening. If you really started treating your free hours, your evenings, your weekends with the same kind of intention, the same value as your work hours, what might open up for you?
Good question.
What's just one small intentional thing you could weave into your routine tonight? Maybe it is just 15 minutes of reading, or a moment of quiet reflection, or just, paying a bit more attention on your walk home. It's amazing how those small, deliberate steps can start to change how we experience time and, how we live. Thanks for exploring this deep dive with us.